The suspense thriller movie The Housemaid begins with a young woman named Millie arriving at the Winchester family home. There, she meets Nina and hands her resume over. After reading it, Nina smiles and says she's absolutely perfect for the job. She's been looking for a housemate. Nina gives Millie a tour and explains that she'll have to handle the entire house by herself. Millie doesn't hesitate. She desperately needs work. Upstairs, Nina shows her a small attic room with barely any furniture, just a mini fridge and a bed. This will be her room. She'll live and work here. Strangely, Millie is overjoyed. Why? We'll find out later. Nina sends her home, promising to call. But home is just Millie's car, parked on the side of the road. She sleeps there because she's completely alone in the world. Sometimes she freshens up in cafe restrooms, grabs cheap food, and returns to her car. That's why this job means everything. 2 days pass, no call. Then one morning, Nina finally calls. They saw other girls, but none better than her. Millie rushes back with all her belongings, only to find the house in chaos. Nina takes her things and tells her to start cleaning. By evening, the house is spotless. Nina's husband, Andrew, and their daughter, Cecilia, return home, surprised to see a housemaid, as they were not informed about her earlier. Nina announces Millie now lives there. Later, Nina brings her leftovers and gives her a new phone with a credit card added. Millie used to have nothing but a simple old button phone. So when Nina gives her a new one, she feels truly valued, not just hired, but treated like family. For a moment, she believes everything is perfect, but the real trouble is only beginning. The next morning, Millie oversleeps and rushes downstairs to find Nina furious, throwing things around the kitchen because an important file is missing. Nina snaps that Millie must have misplaced it on the very day she's supposed to give a speech. Millie is stunned. Just yesterday, Nina was kind. Today, she's raging over one file. Andrew steps in calmly, telling Millie to take Cecilia out and not worry. Even after Nina's harsh behavior, he handles the situation gently, which comforts Millie. Once Nina leaves, Andrew apologizes for her conduct. Later, while taking out the trash, Millie meets Enzo, the gardener, who seems like he wants to warn her, until he notices Nina watching from an upstairs window and falls silent. While cleaning the bathroom, Millie finds a capsule in a drawer, but Nina suddenly appears. That evening, Nina leaves without eating because dinner is late. Andrew invites Millie to join them, but she declines. Later, he brings her a cupcake from Cecilia. For a second, she imagines him too close, but it's just a nightmare. Saturday is her half day, yet Nina stops her and orders her to drop Cecilia at school because she has a salon appointment. Just then, Andrew walks in and says it's fine. He'll drop Cecilia at school since he doesn't have work today. Because of him, Millie finally gets a chance to go out. Outside, she meets her parole officer and shares the good news. She has a job and a place to live. That's when we learn the truth. Millie spent 10 years in prison. The officer warns her clearly. If she quits this job or becomes homeless again, she'll be sent back to jail. She has no choice. She must make this work. Why she was imprisoned remains a mystery, for now. Back home, she meets Andrew's mother, Emily, who brings a beautiful Chinese plates with delicate designs. Andrew loves collecting fancy dishes and admires them. That night, unable to sleep, Millie watches TV downstairs. Andrew joins her, and she asks why Nina is so cruel. He admits Nina has struggled with mental illness since childhood, is on medication, and once even tried to drown her own daughter. If he hadn't come home in time, Cecilia wouldn't be alive. Nina was hospitalized for years. Millie is horrified. Suddenly, Nina appears, sees them sitting together, and despite them only watching a movie, she explodes with anger. After Andrew leaves, Nina coldly tells Millie to pack up and go tomorrow. Terrified, Millie knows she can't lose this job. Terrified, Millie apologizes to Nina and promises she'll fix everything, no more problems. Nina forgives her, but gives her 1 week and a sharp warning: dress properly inside the house and stay away from my husband. Millie agrees and goes back to work. One day, when Nina and Andrew leave, Millie sneaks into Nina's bathroom and checks her medication. There are dozens of capsules. After searching them online, she confirms Nina's serious mental illness. That night, Millie wakes to Andrew's voice. He and Nina are fighting. Panicked, she screams for the door to open. When Nina does, Millie sees a bloody knife in her hand and fears Andrew is hurt, but he steps out unharmed. It was just Nina's rage. The next morning, Nina brings Millie expensive, luxurious clothes to wear inside the house. Millie refuses at first, but Nina insists. She even apologizes for her past behavior and says she wants to do something special for Andrew, asking Millie to book movie tickets and a hotel. Later, when Millie returns with Cecilia, Nina explodes again, denying she ever asked for bookings. She demands Millie pay for everything from her salary. Millie can't afford it and realizes this is a trap. Just then, Andrew walks in. When Andrew hears everything, he tells Nina not to worry, he'll get the tickets refunded, but they're non-refundable. Still, he promises to handle it and apologizes to Millie again. Soon, Nina leaves town for a one-day work trip, taking Cecilia with her. Now, only Andrew and Millie are home. He admits the tickets couldn't be refunded and suggests she go enjoy the movie and hotel with a friend. Everything's already paid for. Millie quietly says she has no friends. After a pause, Andrew offers to go with her. She hesitates, then agrees. They watch the movie, then head to the hotel where drinks turn into too many drinks and laughter turns into dancing. Andrew gets so drunk he can't drive, so they stay the night, separate rooms on the same floor. In her room, Millie checks her phone and freezes. Nina has sent furious messages, even firing her. Panicked, she runs to Andrew. He insists Nina was just angry, but Millie fears she means it. Crying, she breaks down, and Andrew pulls her close. By morning, he warns her Nina must never know. They return home before Nina does. Later, Nina arrives cheerful, apologizes sweetly for the text, and acts perfectly polite. At dinner, she smiles and asks, "Did you learn to cook like this in prison?" Millie is stunned. How does Nina know? Even Andrew looks shocked. Nina casually shrugs. She has no problem with it. After that, Nina hands Millie her car keys and tells her to use her car for groceries. Her old car looks terrible, and she doesn't want her driving that junk. At the store, Millie senses Nina somehow knows everything. There, she meets one of Nina's co-workers, who recognizes the phone and says Nina must have given it to her. She casually reveals Nina installs trackers on all her phones. That means Millie's phone is tracked too. Suddenly, it's clear Nina already knows about the movie and hotel. As Millie returns to the car, 2 police officers stop and arrest her, saying the car was reported stolen. Nina set her up, she gave her the car, then reported it stolen. Just then, Andrew arrives, smooths things over, and takes Millie home. On the way, she admits they stayed at the hotel together and Nina must know. Andrew tells her not to worry. At home, he confronts Nina, but she stays calm and keeps blaming Millie. Furious, Andrew tells Nina to leave. She argues it's her house too, but he snaps that she has no claim to the property. Enraged, Nina slaps Millie and storms out. Now alone, Andrew tells Millie to stay with him. She doesn't have to work anymore. Overjoyed, she makes him breakfast on his favorite plate. But when she sees Enzo at the gate, she panics and drops it. Andrew fires Enzo, tells her it's fine, and asks her to bag the broken pieces. Later, when Andrew checks the broken plate pieces, they aren't fully clean, but he says nothing. He brings a beer to Millie's room, and they drink together. When she wakes up, she's alone. She tries the door, it's locked from the outside. Andrew stands there calmly, saying this house has rules, and she didn't clean the plate properly. She thinks he's joking, but he refuses to open the door and says they'll talk in the morning. The story then shifts to Nina. Though Andrew threw her out, she isn't sad, she looks almost free. We flash back to her past. After graduation, she worked at Andrew's company. They met there, and within a week, he proposed and married her, despite her already having a daughter. She felt lucky, handsome, rich husband, perfect life. But the control began immediately. One day, he noticed a few black hairs and told her to dye them. She forgot. As punishment, he locked her in an upstairs room and demanded 100 blonde hairs, no black ones, in an envelope. The room had only a freezer, water bottles, and a bucket. Trapped overnight, she had no choice but to pull out her own hair. In the morning, he claimed one hair was black and forced her to repeat it. Only when she succeeded did he unlock the door. Desperate, she ran downstairs to see her daughter. Days later, Nina finally sees her daughter again, now much older. But suddenly she feels dizzy. Andrew had drugged her water. She collapses. When she wakes, she hears her daughter crying. The child is in the bathtub, drowning. Police rush in, grab Nina, and pull her away. Andrew had called them, claiming Nina took pills and tried to kill her daughter. The scene looks exactly that way. Everyone believes him. Nina is sent to a mental hospital for 10 years. Months later, Andrew brings her home, playing the role of the kind, devoted husband. She can't prove the truth, and for her daughter's sake, she's forced to stay. To the world, Andrew is a saint caring for a crazy wife. Whenever Nina disobeys or tries to escape, he locks her up or sends her back to the hospital. She eventually realizes he's interested in other women too. That's when she forms a plan. Enzo knows the truth and wants to help. His own sister suffered the same abuse, but Nina refuses to leave without her daughter, so she sets her trap. She hires Millie, knowing about her 10 years in prison, hoping Andrew will shift his obsession. Back in the present, Millie is locked in that same room. Andrew brings the 21 broken plate pieces and says if she wants out, she must carve 21 deep wounds into her body, one for each piece. That night, Millie remembers the past that sent her to prison, back when she was in college, surrounded by wealthy boys. In college, Millie once saw a wealthy student assaulting his girlfriend. She couldn't stand it. She beat him so badly he died. He came from a powerful family. So no matter how hard Millie tried to explain what really happened, no one believed her. She got 10 years in prison. Back in the present, Nina tells her daughter they'll leave for good, but her daughter insists they can't abandon Millie. Meanwhile, locked in the room, Millie spots a knife Nina secretly left behind. Knowing survival means playing along, she uses the 21 broken plate shards to carve 21 deep wounds into her own body. The pain makes her pass out, but once she's done, Andrew unlocks the door. As he steps closer, she seizes the moment and stabs him. She rushes out and locks him inside. Now he's trapped. Calmly, she goes downstairs and eats. She hasn't had a real meal in days. Then she drags out his precious collection of Chinese plates and smashes them one by one. She throws a tool into the room and tells him if he wants freedom, he must knock out one of his front teeth. His charming smile is what attracts women. When he refuses, she pours gasoline around the room. Realizing she'll burn the house down, he breaks his own tooth and hands it over. Still, she doesn't open the door. She walks away. That night, at her daughter's urging, Nina sneaks in to save Millie. She knows the gate code and slips inside easily, certain Millie is locked upstairs. She heads straight up. Millie is asleep, but suddenly jolts awake. She checks the camera. Andrew is nowhere. Uneasy, she goes upstairs. Just as Nina is about to unlock the door, Millie arrives and calls out, but it's too late. The lock clicks open. Andrew bursts out and shoves Nina down the stairs, then chases Millie. She fights him off and barely escapes. When he can't find her, Andrew goes back inside. Nina, who had fled, ends up trapped again. Now Andrew realizes it was Nina's plan to hire Millie, to finally get rid of him. He threatens her, "Stay with me, or I'll send you back to the mental institution." Suddenly, Millie appears behind him, and seizing the moment, violently pushes him down the stairs. He falls and dies instantly. Nina quickly drops a light bulb from the ceiling fan to stage an accident, making it look like he fell while changing it. She tells Millie to leave. She'll handle everything. Millie insists she did it, not Nina, and walks away. When police arrive, Nina calmly explains Andrew fell while replacing a bulb. He always demanded perfection. The story checks out. The case closes. After the funeral, Millie returns. Nina hands her a $100,000 check and tells her to start over. In the final scene, Millie lands a new housemaid job, and with this scene, the story ends, keeping the audience think what is coming next. Thanks for watching. Stay with us for more thrilling stories.